The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Obama eligibility. We heard about it over the years on and off. The birthers, the radicals, the people that invent conspiracy. Obama was or was not born in Hawaii, yet we've never seen a birth certificate, and the one he showed to the nation was proven to be a forgery. Dr. Jerry Corsi went to Kenya and to Hawaii, so did investigators Zulo and Sheriff Arpaio, and endless lawsuits against this president regarding eligibility issues. It appears very strongly that he wasn't born anywhere in Hawaii that anyone can prove. So what's the deal? Is that not another law, a series of laws being broken? Carl, what is the latest on this? Is it ever going to go anywhere, or is it just we're just going to be called names for even noticing this?
Okay. Well, you've asked me about 5 questions. Let me let me just say, is it ever going to go anywhere? We are closer now. When I say we, you know, of course, that I'm very, very close to Sheriff Arpaio and Mike Zulo in the investigation. Mike Zulo and I actually traveled together to CPAC 2013. We've actually traveled together to Capitol Hill and spoken with congressmen together and other VIPs around the nation. So Mike Zulo and I talk on the phone 2 to 3 times a day, every day. I interview him continually on my show. I've interviewed Sheriff Arpaio, so I'm very close to the whole thing. I know about 99% of everything that Mike Zulo knows and has. Most of it I'm not at liberty to divulge yet because we're dealing in a potential criminal case coming before Congress. But you asked the question, is anything ever going to happen? And here's my answer, and I'm parroting what Mike Zulo has been saying in all of his interviews. Our hope and prayer is that something will soon happen. The term soon is relative. You've got to remember we're closer now to a full congressional investigation on this than we have ever been. 2 years of criminal investigation into this matter by the cold case posse. 5 years of people like me and you and others screaming that something is wrong, and nothing was being done. Nobody was doing anything. Nobody was moving it forward. But Mike Zulo, Sheriff Arpaio, and I have really, here about 4 months ago, we put our nose to the grindstone. We said, we are going to try to make something happen. So Zulo and I got on an airplane. We flew to Washington, and we just stuck our nose in the middle of it, and we started insisting that people meet with us. And they did. They have. It opened doors. We've got the attention of some congressmen. Mike Zulo was back in Washington just a few days ago at the invitation of a very, very powerful congressman who I cannot give their name right now.
Fair enough.
But Steve Stockman out of Texas, he has met with Zulo. He's met with me and Zulo. Now he's having Zulo come back to Washington again, bringing more information. Steve Stockman is extremely interested in pushing this forward. Sheriff Richard Mack is all over it. He's all over the radio, coast to coast, talking about it because Zulo gave a presentation at the Constitutional Sheriff's Convention in Missouri just a few weeks back. Before, in a closed-door meeting, he presented all of the criminal evidence that he has to sheriffs and police chiefs and attorneys and constitutional attorneys and elected officials. Not a single one of them, Lori, came out of there saying, well, there's nothing to this. Every one of them came out of there livid that such a fraud has been perpetrated on the American people, and our Congress, as of yet, has done anything about it.
Well, without saying specific names, what we do know, what has been proven, is that the birth certificate that he so arrogantly showed us and the media portrayed was proven by real document examiners to be a forgery, correct?
Yes, absolutely correct.
We know that.
Not only, yes, it's a 100% fact. And again, this has been peer-reviewed by sheriffs, police chiefs, attorneys, constitutional attorneys, elected officials, and now congressmen who are looking at the evidence. Not a single one has taken this pile of evidence and said, you know what, this is a bunch of junk. Every one of them that's looked at it, their jaw has been on the floor. And they said, oh, my gosh, This is a complete fraud. This is a forgery. This is a crime. This is the crime of the century.
Okay, then let's talk about, let me ask you this from a layperson's perspective, talk show host perspective. Okay, we know it was a crime. He showed us a forgery. We know that. All right. Obama plays plausible deniability. Well, I didn't know I was given this. I thought I was showing you the right thing. So would that fly? I mean, where can he hide?
Well, a lot of legal experts believe that in the early days, if Congress had taken this up in the early days, he could have hid behind plausible deniability. He could have said, well, I thought it was mine. I mean, I was told it was mine.
Yeah.
But he's going to have a hard time with plausible deniability at this point because so much time has passed. There's been so much attention to it. And Sheriff Arpaio himself has issued several proclamations for the president to show us the real documents, to release the real documents. The White House refuses to do so. All of Obama's minions refuse to do so. And so at this point, he could try to plead plausible deniability, but legally it just wouldn't fly. I mean,
Carl, when you're a former investigator, you have to wonder, why would he not show the real certificate? He's hiding something on the real birth. Either he doesn't have it, or something on that birth certificate he does not want us to know because he knows it will show that he was born in Kenya or somewhere else.
Yes, bingo. You've hit it. I mean, now that we've come this far down the road, and without him releasing any of the documents and refusing to show the documents and actually committing crimes. I don't know that Obama sat down at a computer and forged his own birth certificate. I doubt that. But somebody did, and he held it up before the world and said, this is mine. So to do that, to commit those kind of crimes, and I mean, those are federal crimes, by the way.
Do you think Obama knows where he was born, or is he going to play this ignorance game? Well, I didn't know. I thought I was born in Hawaii. My mommy told me I was. What does he have to hide behind?
Well, and let me just answer you. So the answer to your question, your original question, is this: either there is something on that birth certificate that is extremely embarrassing to him, or points to his ineligibility to be president. See, it could be that he was born in the United States, but there's something else on there that would prove that he's ineligible. Or the only other possibility is, or he doesn't have a United States birth certificate. Now, the vast majority of the evidence thus far, Lori, is that he doesn't even have a legitimate American birth certificate. Now, I don't know that for certain at this point. I'm just saying we have more evidence that he is not an American citizen than we do have evidence that he is an American citizen. Now, that is fact. Now, it could prove out in the end that he was born in America. But I want you to consider this, though. Consider this. Here's the million-dollar question. I just wrote a blog article about this the other day, and it went viral because people said, oh, my gosh, we've never thought of this. Think of this, Lori. So if he is America's first black president, if he is the most historical president in U.S. history, being America's first black president, he wins the Nobel Peace Prize, the first year he's in office, basically for doing nothing.
Yeah. He
is celebrated as the Messiah around the world, literally in the cover of Newsweek and Time magazine, et cetera, et cetera. Jamie Foxx declares him to be God and our Lord and Savior, Barack Obama. If this stupendous, history-making, first black president, Nobel Prize-winning guy by the name of Barack Obama was born in the United States, answer this for me. Why is there not a single hospital in the entire United States that has put up a plaque, erected a monument,
yes,
or will claim his birth? The most famous president in world history, and not a single U.S. hospital will claim. Now get this.
Mm-hmm.
On the birth certificate he released, it says Kapiolani in Honolulu is his birthplace.
Yeah, sure does.
Obama claims that hospital, but that hospital will not claim Obama.
This is too weird. Too weird to believe.
Yeah. You've got to ask yourself, why would the hospital administrators not be willing to risk their reputation on this guy unless they know that they have no records for this guy in their hospital? They know he wasn't born there, Lori. Now, if he wasn't born there, and the hospital won't claim it, and no other hospital will claim it, now do you see why they had to produce a forgery?
Well, and there's all this connection to Kenya and Kenyan parliament and people celebrating and acting like he was born there. I don't even know that. And then there's the theories and conspiracies. Well, perhaps his daddy really was Martin Luther or Malcolm X or something hideous like that. I mean, maybe he's trying to hide that. But like you said, that is the question. Okay, regardless of that crap, if it was anywhere else in America or Seattle or someplace in Kansas, why is a hospital, is everyone shutting it up?
Well, let me just remind your listeners of this. You said all of these theories about being born in Kenya, and I know that immediately people think, oh, you're just birthers. No, wait a minute. Barack Obama was the original birther. Before he ran for president, up until 2007, for 16 years prior to that, he listed on his biography everywhere he went, including the News Journal of the Harvard Law Review that he supposedly was the editor of, and his own publishers for the books that he published. He listed his birthplace as Kenya.
That's
and
right.
His publishers listed his birthplace as Kenya. And the Harvard Law Review listed his birthplace as Kenya.
So what in the world is that?
Barack Obama never changed that listing until 2007 when he started running for president. Then he started denying that he was born in Kenya.
How is that not evidence in a court against him?
Well, it is, and Zulo's holding all of it, and we're trying to get it before Congress. It's Congress' responsibility to investigate this and deal with it.
Oh, my word. We're talking with Carl Gallups, former investigator, law enforcement official, pastor, talk show host, author. He's right in the middle of this, folks, with Zulo and Sheriff Arpaio. Maybe the truth will finally get out. Carl, how can people listen to your show and learn more about your books?
Thank you. You're so kind to ask me that. Tell your audience, go to carlgallups.com. C-A-R-L is Carl, and Gallups is G-A-L-L-U-P-S. carlgallup.com. They can find out everything about me, my ministry, my show, the work in this Obama stuff, my book, The Magic Man in the Sky, Effectively Defending the Christian Faith, a #1 bestseller on Amazon.com. Been featured all over the world on television and radio. It was reviewed in the Washington Times, still on the bestsellers list a year and a half later on Amazon, The Magic Man in the Sky. They can go there and get that. It's in hardcover or Kindle.
When we come back, what would happen if a normal person who is president, if you and I were president and a whole lot of someone's questioned my birth certificate and eligibility to be president, wouldn't you do things other than shut down all of your records, as this president has? I want to get your response. Carl, there really are a ton of plates spinning in the air, all scandalous, all conspiratorial, all criminal, connected to the heart of Obama. Benghazi, IRS scandal, all linked back to him and his agenda and enemies that have been targeted, NSA, violations here, violations there, and then Holder violating the very Zimmerman trial, for goodness sakes, trying to start riots around the country, and now there's continued push there, and now he's acting like, oh, there'll be a civil rights war, we're going to just push this some more. Criminality everywhere. When you look at this, do you see Congress doing their job, or are they being intimidated right now, or are they starting to rise up like Bravehearts?
Well, there's a handful that's starting to rise up. By and large, they have really, really dropped the ball on this. Some of it is because of pure ignorance. We've talked to congressmen about this that have looked at us like a deer in a headlight, and then they said, we didn't know anything about this. Some of them just pure ignorance. Others have been intimidated, and we've actually heard from media people. We've actually have affidavits from media people, high-ranking media people who have been intimidated, threatened by Obama operatives. Some of them have made the conscious choice to side with Obama. It wouldn't matter what Obama did. You know, he could commit a felony on the steps of the White House in full view, and they would still support him because he's their man. Others have just been wimpified about it. They've just been scared. They don't want to be marginalized. They don't want to have their, be name called. They're just wimps. And we have some men in Congress that are just wimps, in my opinion. So it's just a hodgepodge and a mixture of things, but we finally have some people standing up. But Lori, you and your listeners must keep this in mind. You just went through this litany of scandals, Benghazi and IRS and the gun running and the AP wiretapping and the NSA scandal and, spying on citizens and the immigration scandal and the drone scandal. I mean, on and on and on. But I'm telling your audience, this issue of who Obama is the scandal of scandals. It's the foundation of everything, because what if, Lori, that we have a dead ambassador and dead federal agents because of gun running, and a dead ambassador because of Benghazi, and citizens who've been put in prison like Colonel Lakin, officers, and citizens who have been spied on and having email, the IRS being used to attack citizens. What if all of this is being done by somebody who's not even an American citizen yet, who is the commander-in-chief of the number one superpower of the world? What if? Now, it might be that he is a U.S. citizen, but at this point, only Congress can make that determination. But what if, Lori, what if he's not? And right now, there's more evidence to suggest that he's not a U.S. citizen than there is to suggest that he is. This is the scandal of all scandals, Lori.
And right now, you can't mention names, but you're getting some interest finally from...
Well, no, some big interest. And I wanted to answer your question you asked a long time ago, and my long-winded answer...
We have 1 minute left. Give us what you can.
Okay, you asked when something was going to happen. We hope very, very soon, but we're asking people to be patient, because even if it takes 4, 5, 6, 7 more months, it's better than we've not had any action. But we've got to time this. We've got recesses, congressional recesses, et cetera, holidays. But we do have congressmen who are irate. They're looking into it. They're asking questions, and we think they're going to move it along.
Awesome. Thank you for your courage, Carl, and telling us, keep us up to breast about it.
Thank you, Dr. Lori.
God bless.
God bless.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.